Fox 32 has information that indicates the FBI has launched an investigation into controversial Dalton Mayor and Thornton Township Supervisor Tiffany Henyard.
Dane Placco has been following allegations of her misspending.
Recently, the FBI leaked CCTV footage from what is thought to be a secret residence of Tiffany Henyard, the current mayor of Dalton. The footage has drawn significant attention as it allegedly shows Henyard involved in questionable activities that suggest a misuse of taxpayer resources.
We'll hear testimony on Monday as part of an ongoing investigation into Tiffany Henyard's leadership in the South Suburbs.
She's the mayor of Dalton and supervisor of Thornton Township. Investigative reporter Ben Bradley has been detailing her questionable spending for many months.
This incident represents a major turning point in the ongoing controversies surrounding her leadership, highlighting a troubling image of a public official misusing her power and position.
We needed those officers to be on the street fighting crime. And instead, we have several officers that are riding around protecting.
Under Tiffany Henyard's leadership, there have been numerous allegations of her irresponsible use of taxpayer money. Reports indicate that she has redirected funds intended for public services towards unnecessary and frivolous expenses, even as many Dalton residents face everyday challenges. Her spending choices show a clear disregard for the needs of the community.
Police Department expenditure of categories with large increases, including overtime, other miscellaneous expenses. We don't know exactly what that is, or we're working on unpacking that, contractual services, other professional services, and medical insurance. We wanted to highlight for you, particularly given overtime, what we saw as two outliers with officers, Officer Terry Young and Officer Roland Green. Both of these individuals in the last 2 years have earned more in overtime than their base compensation. The base salary and overtime, and then often in FY 2024, that increased to $227,351, combining the base salary and overtime. Officer Reed for FY 2023 had a total earnings of $145,450, and officer in FY 2024 $192,732. We thought it also important, as you know, that acting Chief Lacey has accumulated overtime, and we're now in fiscal year 2025. Through those 4 years, he's accumulated Now we're going to move this unfunded expenditure, and this is where we focus on, as we move to. We're going to move to unfunded expenditures, and this is really focused on checks that have been approved by the board, from board list to before the board of trustees.
In a surprising development, one of Dalton's trustees has come forward as a whistleblower, revealing Tiffany Henyard's questionable actions. This trustee, who previously worked closely with Henyard, chose to break ranks and disclose the mayor's alleged misconduct to the public.
Henyard has lost another key ally. Until recently, Henyard enjoyed near unanimous support on the Thornton Township Board, but now trustee Carmen Carlisle says after trusting Henyard and remaining silent, she will be a whistleblower against Henyard. Carlisle released a statement to WGN that reads in part, "For the past 2 years, Henyard has manipulated employees, vendors, and residents using her position to increase her influence, all while projecting a false image of success funded by the hardworking taxpayers of Thornton Township and the village of Dalton. Henyard shows no accountability or conscience for her actions against employees or taxpayers." Henyard has denied wrongdoing and claims her opponents are out for what she calls clickbait. Tomorrow at 9, tune in for exclusive new.
Compounding the controversy, Tiffany Henyard's past criminal record has come to light amid the increasing scrutiny. She has faced legal troubles in the past, including previous arrests, which have tarnished her public image.
They've been arrested for something. For me, I think the best candidates are people who probably haven't been arrested, but obviously it depends on the crime, right? Someone that's doing some kind of protest peacefully, they get arrested. That person's trying to make a statement. Instead of using the handcuffs, they give them some kind of plastic zip tie. They go in and spend an afternoon in jail and they move. It depends on the crime, obviously. If you're embezzling or you're doing something super violent, No, I don't think, obviously, that's probably not the good pick. But I do want to say this, that just because you have a criminal history does not necessarily mean you're not able to...
Since Tiffany Henyard took office, Dalton has fallen into a staggering $7 million debt. Critics assert that her mismanagement and reckless spending are the main reasons for this financial crisis. Her tenure has been characterized by questionable financial choices, including unnecessary projects and inflated contracts that have drained the town's resources.
You know what I'm saying? And anybody that's talking about her, you're down here. Oh, I'm just only repeating her words. You're down here. I think she put on a good face for somebody that's being investigated by the feds. She put on a good face when she had to turn in a bunch of documents to a grand jury. I think she put on a good face with all her lieutenants around her is either getting indicted or something going on with them. She putting on a good face. Either she gonna be the Teflon Tiff, or I don't know. I mean, you know, Tiffany did have a mugshot before, so it's not that she's never been to jail. I'm not saying.
Tiffany Henyard often presents herself as kind and polite in public, especially when interacting with law enforcement and local officials. However, many residents of Dalton have a different perspective.
But you know, she's had a mugshot before. That's nothing new. But you know, I mean, I can see why people maybe kind of, you know, gravitate to her. You know, she's very personable. She may be loud and kind of not what you normally would see, but that's okay. Now, I seen a person make a comment about that's what the Democrats think about us. Anyway, listen, it don't matter if you act like Tiffany Henyard or you can be the most prim and proper black person. The Democrats look at us all the same as ninjas, okay? And the quicker you figure that out, the better it is. Just, you have to understand the Democrats are the, you know, nice slave master. And I can't even say they're too nice anymore, but traditionally it's been the nice slave master. You know, the slave master that's not going to just beat his slaves. The slave master that's not going to be violating women. You know, the slave master that actually made the slaves feel like they were family. And if one of them had to be beaten by the overseer, you know, the slave master just couldn't stand seeing it, but he understood it had to happen because they got out of line, right? Then, of course, you had the other slave masters, very, very harsh, you know, beating the slaves all the time, violating the slaves all the time, very, very.
Henyard is accused of using taxpayer money for personal gain, a serious allegation that has caused significant outrage. Reports from Dalton suggest that she has allegedly diverted public funds into personal expenses, including luxury travel, shopping, and fine dining.
You can go watch right now and catch up on Tiffany Henyard, who I must say is not only corrupt, but hilarious. Now, I must say Tiffany Henyard's 2023 was amazing, but her 2024 has been nothing short of electric. As we know, Tiffany loves putting herself on some posters. If there's a poster in Dalton, Illinois, where she's the mayor, she's on it. That included Tiffany Henyard's Happy Martin Luther King Day poster, where she put herself on the poster very big and then put MLK in the bottom in this little box, these two boxes. I guess you would say that was Martin Luther King's dream. Here we can see she wished everybody a happy Valentine's Day. Of course, she was on the photo. On the night of Valentine's Day, she held a party, which was, of course, a party not just for the town, but more specifically for herself and her friends at the town's ice skating rink. Here she is at it. This ice rink was really never supposed to be built because the town's in $1 million of debt. But Tiffany Henyard said, no, we're building it. And she then put out a video where she bragged about building it despite being told, no, don't build it.
Hey, y'all! It's your mayor, Tiffany A. Henyard, the people's mayor. We here in the village of Dalton and we about to get our skate on. Remember, when all 5 of them trustees said no, look what God did.
Things are looking a little murky for the future of Tiffany as the town has been ordered to release spending records after mayor and her allies accused of lavish purchases. As you can see, the town's already $7 million in debt. She actually started her mayorship at $3.5 million in debt, and she has put it all the way up to 7. Those are some good numbers.
In another concerning accusation, Henyard is said to have misused the town's security personnel for her personal errands, effectively turning them into her private assistants instead of allowing them to focus on their official duties. These officers were allegedly assigned menial tasks, such as grocery shopping, chauffeuring, and even running personal favors for the mayor.
At this Valentine's Day party on the skating rink, Tiffany had multiple security guards around her at all times as if she was the president, as you can see here. 1, 2, 3. Tiffany has also fallen under criticism for shutting down local businesses that don't contribute to her campaign. And as you can see here, she is dressed as the gangster Nino Brown from the movie New Jack City. Nino was a gangster in the movie. The New York Post actually picked up all of this absolutely insane behavior that she has really started to really kick up this year and put in their newspaper, Chicago Burbs is a dictator mayor. For now, Tiffany remains the mayor. She also holds a role as a board member on the Thornton Township board. So she continues to be a powerful woman. And I hate to say this because truly there are probably people being negatively affected by this, but I hope this show goes on forever.
Tiffany Henyard faces serious allegations of historic taxpayer money laundering, with critics claiming she has engaged in financial manipulations to divert funds for personal use. This accusation highlights a broader pattern of financial misconduct that has marked her.
She is being accused of historic misuse of taxpayer funds to the sum of, first of all, using the local police as her own personal security detail, costing up to $1 million. She's also being accused of misusing taxpayer money to pay for lavish trips for herself and collecting a combined salary with the supervisor position and her mayor position of $287,000. This is a small town in Illinois, 20,000 people, the highest salary in our U.S. government, and she's making just under $300,000. Now, before we go even further, just so you have a bit of an idea of some of the antics that Tiffany will pull off, this is her at a local public meeting dressed up as an infamous criminal kingpin named Nino Brown.
Nobody knows something. Don't nobody know nothing? Yeah. Nobody. Nobody? Trustee? Nobody? Nobody knows something.
As things were mounting and as questions were not being answered, they're also requesting an investigation by the FBI, and some of these allegations or accusations, I should say, are so serious that even some local businesses are saying that their licenses and things that they need are not getting renewed after they made decisions to cut off ongoing financial donations to her campaign. So it's a pretty big deal, and this is one of the things that she was questioned on. She has this foundation, a cancer research foundation, that people are also wanting an investigation into, as she has not disclosed, of 20,000 people. All of these accusations that she's racking up are causing this town to go into unmanageable debt, and the people are crying out for help. Here are a few of these people. In fact, I believe they're looking at right now a $2 million deficit, which in a big city or a big town might not be that big of a deal, but when you are the village of Dalton in the middle of Illinois, it's a much bigger.
When confronted about her spending habits and financial decisions, Tiffany Henyard has consistently refused to provide clear answers. Her avoidance of accountability has only heightened public suspicion and fueled rumors of wrongdoing. Her reluctance to engage with the media or address the concerns of Dalton's residents has been interpreted by many as an admission of guilt.
Remind you before you watch this clip, this is not a show. This is real life. This is not comedy. It's not a skit.
You didn't go to Las Vegas? What is that?
No comment.
You don't know if you were in Las Vegas?
Of course I do.
Were you?
It's not paid by them.
Did you fly first class to Las Vegas?
Any other?
Before you watch this clip, I want to remind you that this is not a show. It's real life. This isn't a comedy or a skit. You're not in Las Vegas. What do you mean, no comment? You don't know if you were in Las Vegas? Of course I was. If you were, was it paid for by them? Did you fly first class to Las Vegas? Any other questions?
A music video with taxpayer dollars. It's not even her own song. It's just her singing over it. This is a legit comedy show. I can't wait for the documentary about this. Look at her with the cops. And the crazy thing is, all of the things I've mentioned, it's only the tip of the iceberg with her. I could do a 10-part series on Tiffany. She is the most iconic politician running right now. She just does what she wants, and then she just keeps it moving. She goes, I'm gonna keep spending taxpayer dollars. I'm gonna have to do a 10-part series on this woman because she made.
One of the most unusual allegations against Henyard involves her reportedly coercing police officers into participating in a dance video that she later shared on social media. The video shows Henyard lip-syncing to a popular song while officers dance in the background. This has been widely criticized as a misuse of police resources.
Free fresh produce, but Tiffany always puts her face and name in huge letters opposed to the actual thing it's advertising in order to get her name out there. And as I said, this is all paid for by taxpayers. Tiffany recently went to Las Vegas with a few of her friends to attend a conference. While there, she spent all of this money on airfare, hotels, and then money at restaurants like Ruth Chris's, Cafe Hollywood, Hot and Juicy Crawfish. And this was all paid for by the taxpayers because she was there attending a conference. She also spent a fair amount of money at Bubba Gump's shrimp company, and then she brought the hat that she bought there to her town council when she was being questioned about the money she spent in Las Vegas. I learned about Tiffany today when I read an article about the ordinance she's putting in that states if she loses her re-election to be mayor, the mayor salary will be decreased from $225,000 to $25,000. But if she wins, it will stay the same. When I read that, I realized I had to learn everything about this woman. And as it turns out, the 90% pay cut doesn't even crack the top 10 of the most corrupt things that this woman has done in a short year that she's been the mayor of Dalton, Illinois. If you're on a highway near Dalton, Illinois, you will see billboards of Tiffany Henyard. These are all billboards that are paid for by taxpayers, and they advertise things such as senior service.
Her alleged misuse of taxpayer money extends to her travel and accommodations. Reports indicate that she has frequently traveled in business class and stayed in 5-star hotels, all funded by Dalton's budget. These lavish expenses have outraged residents who question why public funds are being used for such personal indulgences. The accusations of extravagant spending are particularly troubling given Dalton's ongoing financial struggles, highlighting a disconnect between Henyard's actions and the town's fiscal realities.
South Chicagoland's super mayor might be going to a supermax prison very soon. The FBI issued multiple subpoenas in the last week, and now we know that a federal grand jury has been investigating Tiffany Henyard for corruption since November. I do not know what more they need to see. The residents of the town literally had a rally called Take Our Township Back last week. It won't be her first time behind bars, but unlike when she was arrested for vehicle trespass, she is now facing 22 criminal charges, and her own lawyer just dropped out because guess what? She hasn't paid her bills, and the city now owes as much as $20 million. This is what happens when people who did not earn their position of authority get access to power. If you didn't know, while she was voted mayor back in 2021, the vast majority of her income and power really comes from her position as township supervisor, where she makes over $220,000 a year. But she only has that huge salary because she inherited it with the position from the predecessor who passed away. Tiffany actually passed an incredibly shady ordinance, so if somebody defeated her in the next election, their salary would only be $25,000. So it's literally not worth it to run against her. You know it's a bad situation when the residents think the best idea is to bring in Lori Lightfoot for $400 an hour. It's so frustrating how slow the wheels of justice turn, but it feels like this story is starting to accelerate, and I hope that Dalton citizens don't have to wait much longer to see her in an orange page.
Tiffany Henyard frequently refers to herself as a super mayor, presenting herself as the protector and hero of Dalton. However, this self-promotional image has not resonated with many residents who feel that her actions contradict the true values of public service.
4 days ago, she fired the chief of police because he was investigating all of those credit card receipts and all those claims of her funneling taxpayer dollars into her privately owned cancer awareness charity, which you cannot do. And in one of those investigations that the chief of police was investigating, it stated here in this tweet, and shout out to this person for tweeting this, they said Mayor Tiffany Henyard is one of the most corrupt ever. She actually hired a child offender, overpays her police officers. She overpays her police officers to be her security, which what do you need that much security for? You're a mayor of a town with about 20,000 people. One of the officers was paid $13,000 in 2 weeks for 300 hours of overtime. Because nobody believes that. Nobody believes that anybody worked 300 hours of overtime. So this has to be investigated because it looks like these numbers were being padded. So the chief of police, or the ex-chief of police, had his attorney investigate these.
In a strange and controversial move, Henyard allegedly dressed up as Nino Brown, a fictional gangster from the movie Asterisk, New Jack City Asterisk, and demanded money from citizens.
Were allegations of corruption, and he was investigating them. Now I'm going to do a little bit more digging because I think there's a lot more to know about this Tiffany Henyard story because anybody who shows up to a city town hall meeting dressed like Nino Brown is definitely doing something that they shouldn't be doing.
That's a wrap for today's video. Thanks for watching, and be sure to tune in next time.